I'm on Twitter Spaces. I'm on OBS. I'm on Zoom. I'm on Discord.
At the end of the day,
All the places.
amazing that it all actually works.
That's very true. There's definitely a better way to do all this. Um, so yeah, I was just telling everybody you were gone. Were you gone for 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Because I think we missed
Uh,
one. I think I missed one week, and then you were gone for two
I was
weeks.
gone for 2 weeks. I don't know if we had a show in between the one that you then missed. It's been at least 2 weeks.
I think
Could be three.
I think it's been three. Yeah, I think it's been
I know. I
three
feel
since we've
like
had you on.
last week, because last week I was on a train. I had okay-ish Wi-Fi. Man, I don't know what's going on with my throat. But I jumped on the thread for a little bit. I couldn't um, listen, but I jumped on the thread for a little bit and I saw like sounded like there was some new announcements and some new stuff. I was like, oh, I gotta catch up. I'm missing out.
Yeah, there's a lot. So last week I kind of teased some of the announcements, but I didn't
Ah,
really
okay,
give.
so it's
Yeah, I didn't really
perfect.
give a ton of details. Exactly. Yeah, you're
I
here.
like
You're
it.
here for the major, like the real reveal of everything. So um, I'll start with a couple things on the development side. So a couple you probably saw, we released a new onboarding protocol and login screen. So the login and sign up screens are completely rebuilt. Um, and there's a couple different reasons for that, but a major reason was, one, we wanted a more kind of modern, clean design. Two, we wanted to fix a lot of bugs, and what we ultimately decided was just rebuilding the whole thing would be better and more effective. So we essentially just rebuilt everything, and that is now live. And we've been looking for more feedback on it. So we've got a hackathon that we're doing tomorrow, um, in order to find any kind of bugs that we haven't found yet. Sorry, just look around this thing. So we're doing a hackathon to catch the last of the bugs and make sure that this sign up protocol is bulletproof. And once you hear the announcements from this week, today, you'll find out why that sign up protocol needs to be absolutely bulletproof by this weekend. Um, so that's kind of the major news on the development side. We hired a new dev. I kind of loosely talked about that last week, but we hired a new dev who is essentially just in charge of bug fixes. So I've given him the nickname of lead exterminator on Inleo. So his job is literally to find and fix bugs before you guys even find them, and then also after you guys find them. So you guys have probably noticed that the UI has gotten a lot smoother, a lot more bug free. I'm not going to say that it's perfect right now because it's not. There's constant improvements that we're making and new bugs that we're always finding and that you guys are finding. But the progress in fixing things is a lot faster. So this month we've already pushed like 29 bug fixes, and if you compare that in our GitHub to last month, actually now we're at 30. If you compare that to last month, we did 14 bug fixes. So 14 versus 30, and we're only 12 days into March. So pretty amazing. I think by the end of the month, we'll probably have over 40 or 50 fixes pushed, especially after this login sign up hackathon to find what's broken there. So a lot of fixes getting pushed, a lot of new features getting pushed. The dashboard is live once again, and half SQL is built into the Leo node, which is really important for a lot of different reasons. But all of that is good. There's now a lot of really cool. Mitch, are you delegating Hive power to leo.voter?
Yeah, I mean, I've
So
been doing
so
this
go
since
to
like day one.
yeah, I kind of remember that. So go
I don't,
to inleo.io and then go click more and then dashboard. I think this is like all going to be new for you since you were gone the last couple weeks.
yeah, I haven't, honestly, I couldn't even tell you how much I'm delegating because I did it like literally from day one. And whatever I did then, I never changed, never looked at it again.
Yeah, you're going to like this.
All right, we got stats.
So scroll to the bottom and you'll see delegate and earn. It's a little live tutorial.
Yep. Current delegation. There you go.
So it shows you how much you're delegating, right?
Yep.
And then it says your current APR is at like 13%.
Showing an APR.
To the right of your current delegation.
Oh, that's funny. It's like I actually have to scroll to the right. It's not coming up as like just in my.
Oh, I don't know how big your screen is.
That's pretty big. I got it on my second screen. Current APR 16%.
Oh, 16. Oh,
Yeah.
you did switch to stake then last time around.
Yeah, on our last
Oh
call.
yeah, that's right. That's right. That's
You had
right.
just
That's right.
launched it and I pressed whatever button I needed to
Yeah,
press.
but we didn't, I don't think we had the UI like fully live yet.
Yeah,
So,
type staked. Yeah, you're earning 4% more by receiving stake Leo's daily payouts. Yep.
yep. So, so that's all live now and it looks great. Um,
Monthly payout, daily payout. Yep.
Yeah, so the most and I announced last week there was a change to the tiers along with the reintegration of half SQL. So the top tier is now 16% when you've got stake Leo plus um, premium. So it was temporarily 22%. We were kind of playing around with that to see if we would get more delegators, but we ended up not getting any new delegate. I think we got like 5 new delegators. So we ultimately just made it 16% as the top tier. We may play, and I said this in the announcement post too, that we may play around with the APR a little bit, but I would say that this is like the lowest APR you will see is 16%. So, we played around with 22%, trying to see if we could get some more delegations in, but haven't seen any. So we dropped it back down to 16%, and it will most likely remain at 16% for the foreseeable future. It definitely won't be lower than that, but maybe we'll increase it. If we see an opportunity to get more delegators, we might increase it. But what I like is that you can see like the daily, monthly payouts. I think that's super cool. And you can kind of like it estimates like the dollar value of it per month. So I've got this one account delegating 21,000 Hive power, and the monthly payout is 1.9 thousand Leo, which is about $125. So per month, which is kind of cool to see. Um, so that's that. We've pushed a ton of updates for the dashboard. And you guys will notice that more pieces of data are going to slowly come live. So like impression data, activity, and then also like account balance and whatnot. So we're still working on all that stuff. And then obviously the advanced view will launch later down the road. So that is that. And like I said, just a lot of bug fixes this past like 2 weeks. We've just really been focused on making the UI as smooth as possible, which leads into the major announcements. So I'll get into these announcements, and I'm sure we're going to have tons of questions. So we'll do the announcements and then probably just run through a bunch of Q&A that you guys have. So first major piece of announcement. Leo is getting listed on a new exchange. And you guys are the first to hear it. There have been no blog posts, no threads, no X posts about it yet. I wanted to kind of save it for the AMA so that you guys could get the alpha first. And then a blog post right after we jump off this call. A blog post is going to go out on @LeoFinance with more of the details. But we're listing Leo on the Maya blockchain. And this has been something that I've wanted to do for a long time, but obviously a lot of you know that I wanted to list on Thorchain. So Maya is really interesting, and I was just explaining some of this to Mitch, but I've been diving deeper into Maya lately, and there's a couple of people in our community like Eric and Nifty that are pretty big on Maya. But Maya is a friendly sister fork of the Thorchain blockchain. So there's some key differences, but essentially what it is, if in my little elevator pitch of it, is that Maya is kind of a smaller version of Thorchain. It aims to be an L1 cross-chain decentralized exchange. But they also aim to be a little bit more experimental than Thorchain. So I look at Thorchain as being kind of like Bitcoin in a way where Bitcoin is, it's something that's not meant to be changed frequently. It's meant to be a long-standing protocol, something that you can rely on, low downtime. That's kind of like the Bitcoin standard of crypto. So that's what Thorchain is to me. It's like it's the L1 DEX. If you want to swap, layer one tokens, that's how you do it. And Maya is kind of like almost like the Ethereum to the Bitcoin. It's more of a feature rich, high speed, fast development pace platform that is very complementary to Thorchain. So there's a few things happening with Maya that have made me really excited lately. And they're actually at all-time highs right now. The token is like $1.20. So they're at their all-time highs. Uh, and I'm kicking myself because Eric and Nifty told me to buy a bunch of cacao at which is their token at like 10 cents, and I really didn't listen. So now it's at like $1.10, $1.20.
Damn.
Yeah, wish I had bought that one.
I
But
I remember
it was
Nifty
a
mentioning that one.
yeah, he's written a lot of blog posts about it. So I obviously didn't really listen, but the platform was a little bit small for me. And to be honest with you, at first glance, I didn't really understand it. I looked at it as a fork of Thorchain, and I just kind of was like, oh yeah, it's just a fork. Like, it's not really relevant. But in the last year since they launched, they've done a lot of interesting things. So they've released some interesting features and some things that are different than Thorchain. So I don't look at it in any way as and I do have a little bit of a gripe with some people who describe Maya as being like a better Thorchain. Um, to me, that gives like Bitcoin fork vibes where people are like Bitcoin Cash is like a better Bitcoin. So I've never been really like a buyer into that, and it definitely kind of shunned me away from their community a little bit. I didn't really like that. But the more I've learned about it, especially recently, the more I've realized that it is actually different. They've done some different things, and their plans are very different than Thorchain. And they are also very complementary to Thorchain. Um, so I'm excited to kind of see how they develop. And I know that they're working on some things that are interesting to me, like smart contracts and some other features that Thorchain has no plans to work on. So Thorchain is aiming to be that kind of like Bitcoin standard type of platform, while Maya aims to be a little bit more fluid, a little bit more evolutionary, kind of like how Ethereum has really changed over the years versus Bitcoin, which hasn't really changed. So they have their own use cases. I'm excited to kind of see that unfold. I've been told that streaming swaps are being launched in April, which is next month. And I've shared in a few different places, but if you look at the volume of Thorchain, which is at all-time highs now, before streaming swaps, the volume was very tiny. As soon as streaming swaps came out, it took less than a few months for the volume to absolutely skyrocket. It's doing like $500 million a day now in trading volume, versus like under $50 million prior to streaming swaps. So Maya is about to launch streaming swaps. So I look at it as being, if it does any fraction of what if streaming swaps does any fraction of what it did for Thorchain that it does on Maya, this is gonna be a really breakout moment for Maya as an ecosystem. So that's exciting to me. They're also launching the Arbitrum blockchain, I think this Thursday. And included in the update with the Arbitrum blockchain, we've been working with their team. They're adding Leo to Maya. So Leo is getting listed on the Maya blockchain, and we are going to seed it with $100,000 in liquidity. And then anyone else will be able to add liquidity to it as well. There are no liquidity rewards for providing liquidity on Maya, but you earn from the swap fees, which is how Thorchain works essentially. The primary earning method is that you earn from swap fees. So the more volume there is, the more you earn as an LP. So there's some amazing things that are going on behind the scenes here. So another big thing coming for Maya is that they're launching an aggregator that will work with Thorchain. I've been told that's happening sometime in the next like 8 weeks. And when that happens, any token listed on Maya will immediately be able to, you'll be able to be traded with anything on Thorchain. So it's an aggregator. It lets you trade both on Maya and on Thorchain through the Maya rails. So this is essentially as good as a Thorchain listing, because once the aggregator is live, you'll essentially be able to choose Leo from a Thorchain UI. So it'll be as good from a front end, user experience perspective as being on Thorchain itself. But obviously by being on Maya, we're able to work with their team more, and they're more open and dynamic in a way with smaller listings. Obviously that's kind of like the nature that's kind of like part of the reason they exist. And that's why they're complementary to Thorchain, is that Thorchain is like the big dog. Like they don't change frequently, they don't add chains frequently. Maya, they add new features, they add new chains, they add new projects frequently. So that's kind of like the big difference there. There's a couple really big things happening with this. So Leo's going to be on the different Maya UIs. You'll be able to trade it. You'll be able to add liquidity to the new WLEO-Cacao pool. So it is WLEO that's getting listed because they support ERC20s. So it's WLEO-Cacao. You'll be able to trade after it goes live. You'll be able to trade Leo for any L1 token that's listed on Maya. So right now that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, a few others. Arbitrum obviously getting listed on Thursday. You'll be able to trade Leo directly for any of those. So imagine that you could, if you want to buy, $1,000 worth of Leo, you could use native Bitcoin in your, Ledger hardware wallet or whatever, and you could swap directly into Leo. So that's huge on its own. And then the second piece to this, another big part of it is that we're adding a swap module to the Inleo wallet. So you'll be able to swap Leo for any token on Maya. So you'll be able to use the Maya rails. And then obviously when the aggregator is live, it'll also use the Thorchain rails. So you'll be able to swap in and out of Leo using the Leo UI, and Maya will be the back end of it. And with that swap module, the Leo ecosystem will be earning affiliate fees for all the swaps. So it earns like a small percentage on every swap when anyone uses the swap UI that we build. It'll also earn wrapping fees because it's wrapped Leo. And it'll also earn pool rewards from all the volume. So there's like three big ways that Leo captures value from this. And all that value that's captured is going to be used to buy Leo and buy Cacao 50/50, kind of like what we're doing with the premium subscriptions, and then provide permanent liquidity in the WLEO-Cacao pool. So this creates a really good flywheel, because what you see is, yeah, Tasser said another revenue stream. This is potentially going to be one of the biggest revenue streams. I mean, it's really hard to predict because it depends. It completely depends on how many people actually use it to swap. But if you look at other affiliate UIs, there's affiliate UIs making 6 figures a month. Some are making 7 figures a month. Like ThorSwap is literally making millions of dollars a month in swap fees, affiliate fees on Thorchain. So, if we have any fraction of that, this is going to be a huge revenue stream for Leo. And it is organic, constant buying pressure that is constantly buying Leo and then pooling it with Cacao, and then putting it in that liquidity pool. So the flywheel that this creates is that all that revenue that's generated then is providing permanent liquidity. As the liquidity increases, the potential trading volume increases, because you need more pool depth equals more less slippage, which equals more trading volume. So it creates a really nice flywheel where it's just going to continue to absorb more and more Leo into that pool. Like I said, we're seeding it with 100K. I'd like to see it hit somewhere in the 250K range within a short period of it launching. And then from there, I just want to see permanent liquidity getting bought and put into that pool to get that flywheel going. So the big, and then so that's like all the big stuff happening there. I think what Hive people are going to be really excited about is that you'll now be able to, and this is a part of our UI that we're building, you'll be able to swap Hive and HBD directly with layer 1 Bitcoin and layer 1 Ethereum, and it will use Leo as kind of like the middle settlement currency. So basically what's going to happen is, on our UI, it'll make this all very seamless from a user perspective. You'll select Hive in the drop. Like, let's say you want to sell Hive for layer 1 Bitcoin. You'll select Hive in the drop down at the top, just like any other swap module. And then at the bottom, you'll select Bitcoin. And then you'll have to enter your Bitcoin address, like your Bitcoin wallet, since it's native Bitcoin. So you input, let's say 1,000 Hive, and you output Bitcoin with your Bitcoin wallet address, and then you hit swap. And there's going to be a couple buttons that you have to click, but it's super intuitive. It's a few steps, and you'll hit swap, and then it will literally swap your 1,000 Hive into 1,000 Hive worth of Leo. So let's just say that this is like $500, right? So you swap 1,000 Hive, which is worth $500. That buys $500 worth of Leo. It swaps the Hive into Leo using B swap. And then the Leo gets wrapped to wrap Leo. And then that wrap Leo gets sold in the cacao pool into wrap Bit, or it's not into wrap Bitcoin, into native Bitcoin. And then that native Bitcoin gets sent to your wallet address. And all of this happens with like 3 clicks of a button. And it's seamless on the user interface side. It's really easy to use, and it literally just makes it like I'm swapping Hive for native Bitcoin. And then the vice versa works as well. So you'll be able to select. So like let's say you go back to the swap UI and you want to buy $500 worth of Hive using native Bitcoin or using native Ethereum. You'll select Bitcoin in the top menu. You'll select Hive in the bottom menu. You'll enter your Hive wallet address, which is like, at Scaredy Cat Guide in the bottom. And then you'll hit swap, and it'll send your $500 worth of Bitcoin into Cacao, which will then swap into Wrap Leo, which will then unwrap from Wrap Leo to Leo, which will then swap the Leo into Hive, and then output the Hive into your wallet directly, all from our UI. So this has been a big goal of mine, has been not only to bring Leo to the masses and make it easily tradable, but also make Hive and HBD easily tradable, which you guys have seen me kind of experimenting with, with all the different launches we've done. This has been a big goal for me, as a big Hive stakeholder, a big believer in Hive as an ecosystem. And then obviously, for Leo, I want to do the same. So this gives us the best of both worlds. We're listing Leo on a major cross-chain DEX. And by doing that, and then also building, this swap module that I've talked about and using Leo as the settlement currency, you'll be able to swap Hive and HBD for any L1 that's listed on Maya, and then in a couple months, anything on Thorchain. So, this is as good as Hive getting listed on any of these platforms, and then obviously Leo getting listed on these platforms. And Leo will absorb all of this swap volume through affiliate fees, wrapping revenue, and swap revenue. So you're looking at 3 major ways of generating revenue, and the kind of target market is anyone that has Hive, HBD, or Leo directly on our UI. And then obviously, as our platform grows, and there's more people using Leo, there's more people making threads, making blog posts, earning Leo, earning Hive, earning HBD. They're going to earn all of that into their wallet. And then one day they may decide, I want to sell some Leo, I want to sell some Hive, I want to sell some HBD. And then they'll go into their wallet, into the swap module, and they'll be able to swap for any layer 1 token. And vice versa is also true. Maybe they say, Hive Power earns 12% yield per year, and I want exposure to it. I'm a Bitcoin holder and I want to sell some Bitcoin for Hive. They go to their Inleo wallet, they select Bitcoin, they select Hive, and they instantly swap from native Bitcoin into Hive. And Leo is in the middle of all of that, kind of like that unseen layer, capturing all that value and then providing permanent liquidity. So that's huge. Streaming swaps coming to Maya is going to be massive. So imagine that, and this has happened in the past. Let's say that a whale comes in and wants to buy $50,000 worth of Leo. Right now, that is very hard to do. They essentially have to go to all the different pools and initiate a bunch of small transactions if they want to buy Leo. Excuse me. If they want to buy Leo with low slippage, they'll have to do a bunch of little transfers in all the various pools to buy Leo and then unwrap it all onto the Hive blockchain. With streaming swaps on Maya and having Leo listed on Maya, they'll be able to do a $50,000 swap directly for Leo using streaming swaps with very low slippage. So if you look at what this has done for Thorchain, it's absolutely incredible how streaming swaps have changed that platform. Leo will now tap into streaming swaps through Maya. So I think this is just huge on all fronts for the platform. I would say the thing I'm most excited for is the value capture of having our own swap module built and then coinciding that with all the pools. So there's a lot that goes into that announcement, and I'm sure you guys will have questions. The second piece to the announcement is that CUB, a Nomad Soul saying he lost audio. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. A Nomad's, I think he
I
lost
can hear,
audio.
I can hear
You
you
can
and
hear
I'm
me, right?
listening. Yeah, and I'm listening through
Spaces.
spaces.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
So, who asked the question? Which leads into the announcement. Solomon asks, which I think asks pretty much every week, what about CUB and PolyCUB? So the second piece, oh yeah, okay, Taskmaster can hear me. The second major piece to this is CUB and PolyCUB. So we've been working for a long time trying to figure out a good solution for CUB and PolyCUB in the long run. And a thing that keeps coming back on the drawing board is assimilating CUB and PolyCUB into Leo. So we've changed the vision a little bit. In a couple of years ago when all the different DeFi platforms launched, there was obviously this huge like DeFi gold rush. And it was really appealing, as a platform to say, okay, now we can go out to other blockchains. We can, get liquidity pools. We can list our token, and we can get exposure to all these different communities using DeFi. So that was the whole vision behind CUB and PolyCUB. I think in a certain sense, it actually achieved its goal of like, now you can wrap Leo and trade Leo onto Binance Smart Chain, onto Ethereum, and onto Polygon. So it achieved a goal in that sense. But the goal that wasn't achieved was making CUB and PolyCUB, good standalone platforms that could generate sustainable revenue on their own. So that was obviously always a goal of ours, was to make that happen. And I just see that it's not happening. And we've seen, we've tried a lot of different things. We've experimented with a lot of things, and it simply isn't working. So what the next stage is assimilating everything into Leo. As you can hear from, the last announcement, we've got so many plans for Leo on like a tokenomic economic front. And then obviously, that our focus is entirely on building the best UI that we can build with incredible features, with flywheels built in, with real revenue models that are actually working, like premiums generating, about $2,500 a month in revenue that's buying Leo. You've got Leo ads that's finally live. And then you've got this major kind of swap platform that we're building directly on the Inleo UI. So, with this launch of the swap platform and the listing of Leo on Maya, we are going to assimilate CUB and PolyCUB into Leo. And the way that we're going to do this is I want to put it up to the Leo holders to decide how this all happens. So we are also going to launch the first, so kind of like three announcements. We're also going to launch the first stake-weighted vote, poll vote on Inleo. So the first ever stake-weighted poll will go live, possibly tomorrow, either today or tomorrow. That poll will be open, I think, for about 4 or 5 days. More details will get announced when we actually run it. So we're going to launch this poll, and you'll be able to vote on it directly on the Inleo UI like any other poll. And it's going to be stake weighted. Excuse me. It's going to be stake weighted. And I don't think we're going to have the stake weighted UI ready. But on the back end, it's stake weighted. So you're going to have to kind of ignore what it says on the front end in terms of voting. But on the back end, we'll collect all the votes in a stake weighted way, so that, let's say you have 1 million Leo power, your vote is worth 10 times more than someone who has 100,000 Leo power. So, stake weighted. That's just how it works. And so we're going to launch that, and that poll will decide how we proceed with all of this. But the proposal that we are putting out there with the poll is essentially to allow anyone to burn their CUB and PolyCUB tokens, and in exchange receive a 1-for-1 value with Leo. So, for example, let's say you have $10,000 worth of CUB. You'll be able to burn the $10,000 worth of CUB and get $10,000 worth of Leo at the current market price of that, whatever the snapshot is. So, like, for example, right now, Leo's like 8 cents, CUB's like 0.001 cent. So you burn $10,000 worth of CUB, you get $10,000 worth of Leo. So it's 1-for-1 on a dollar value basis, not on a token for token basis. And the current market caps of CUB and PolyCUB combined, I think, is about 160K right now. So you're looking at about $160,000 in total potential burn that would then be converted to Leo. And Leo's current market cap is about 1.6 million. So this is like 10% of the market cap of Leo being used to kind of like quote unquote bail out CUB and PolyCUB. And my goal with this is let's get, let's put CUB and PolyCUB kind of in the rearview mirror. The platforms will still exist and they're still generating very small revenue. Like it's like tiny, like under $100 a month. But the platforms will still exist. I'm expecting that the majority of the supply of CUB and PolyCUB will be burned. So like right now there's like 7 million PolyCUB. Expect that to be like 2 million or less. There's like something like 28, 30 million CUB. Expect that to be like under 5 million or something after this event. And what's essentially going to happen then is that there's very low token supplies there. They're still generating very low revenue, and that revenue is still buying and burning those two tokens. And kind of eventually the goal would be like get the supply to zero, which is like a kind of like a full cash out event essentially for anyone holding the tokens. So that is kind of like the roadmap going forward. Obviously, I think that we need to put it to a poll vote, and Leo power holders need to approve this because you're essentially talking about minting on the order. Like, let's assume because not every CUB and PolyCUB holder is going to turn in their CUB and PolyCUB for Leo. So the rough math that I've done is like, let's assume at the top end of the range, $100,000 worth of CUB and PolyCUB gets turned in. At the current price of Leo, that would be about 1.1 million Leo that would get created that would get added to the supply, which is still underneath the bounties fund and the team fund and the funds that haven't actually been used in any way. So it's not like this is like brand new Leo that's coming out of nowhere that should have never existed. It's essentially just a donation from those funds into kind of this bailout event. But you're looking at about 1.1 million Leo, in my opinion, at kind of like the top end of the range that would be created from this. So that Leo gets created, and then CUB and PolyCUB get burned, and that Leo is given to anyone who burns CUB and PolyCUB on a dollar for dollar value basis. And Tokenized Society asked a good question, which is kind of where I was heading. Let's say the PolyCUB CUB burn gets approved. What would be the timeline to implement and execute that option? So there's a reason we're kind of like pushing all of this stuff at the same time. I want the CUB and PolyCUB holders to get into Leo before this Maya listing because I have a feeling a lot of exciting things are going to happen for Leo, post listing, which is happening 7 days from today. So my goal is for the team to get the poll out tomorrow or within the next 24 hours. The poll will go live. All Leo Power holders will be able to vote on that poll. And the vote outcome will ultimately determine if we, approve the CUB PolyCUB burn. And if approved, and the vote will last possibly like 3 to 5 days. I haven't really decided how long we're going to give for that. But I want there to be ample time. Like I mean, in an ideal world, I want every single Leo Power holder to vote, but I know that's not going to happen. So, if more than 50% of all Leo, in holding in existence votes on this poll, I think I'd be happy with that kind of voter turnout. So my goal is get the poll out, get votes in maybe the next 3 to 5 days. So by like Friday or Saturday, we would see if it was approved or not. So if approved, then on like whatever day it gets approved, at that exact moment, you'll be able to burn your CUB and PolyCUB. And then we're gonna basically, as that burn comes in, we're gonna tally everything up, and then your Leo airdrop will get kind of formulated from that. And then the airdrop, I'm thinking what we're gonna do is we'll give 30 days to CUB and PolyCUB holders to turn in their CUB and PolyCUB and get Leo. So it would be about a 30-day period of time. And we may unlock like every week. So like, for example, let's say that it's all approved. And let's say that starting on Monday, we send out the first distribution. So let's say that like 1 million or use dollar figures because it's easier. Let's just say like $50,000 worth of CUB and PolyCUB get burned on day one. Then $50,000 worth of Leo gets airdropped to those people who burned on day one, like on that Monday. And then we'll do it every Monday. Anyone who burns like from Monday to Monday, it'll get processed the next Monday, and then they'll get the airdrop of Leo. And then we'll do that for like 4 weeks. So it'll be like a 30-day period of time to let everybody, hopefully get the Leo. And then after the 30 days, it's just basically going to close, and then the window's over. So we need to make a lot of noise about this, obviously. And this is kind of like the first place we're announcing it. And then we're going to do the poll, and then hopefully the poll gets approved. And then, all these changes go live. And IJAT said, what's the plan B in case the burn is rejected? So if the proposal is rejected, I think we hold like a town hall. We talk about why it was rejected. Obviously, you'll be able to see on chain who voted against it. And we can talk to them about why, we could just have you guys all on stage, talk about why it was rejected, and maybe what we can do to kind of come to some sort of agreement on why it should be proposed, should be pushed through, or what changes need to be made to the proposal. Obviously, from my perspective, I think it's a no-brainer, and I think it's gonna get approved. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I think it's an absolute no-brainer for the Leo ecosystem for a lot of different reasons. Most of us as Leo power holders are also holding CUB and PolyCUB, so I think that is enough reason on its own. And then you've also got, if you're not holding it, then someone on Leo is probably holding it. And then there's also like, it's time to kind of put the DeFi platforms of CUB and PolyCUB behind us, and to move forward to something that's positive. And like I said, if you look at the last kind of 2 years of Leo, we've been assimilating features directly into the Inleo UI. So there's less and less happening there's less and less that we're doing outside of Inleo.io. Like we're assimilating all the features, all the development power into one UI, and that is like the everything app vision that we've got. So that is our ultimate goal. And I do see Salome talking about the unlock. So that is another good question. So for most people, you are still, when you lock PolyCUB into XPolyCUB or VexPolyCUB, you actually have tokens in your wallet called XPolyCUB or called VexPolyCUB, and you can transfer those tokens. So instead of burning the PolyCUB, you would burn those tokens. So if you have those liquid in your wallet, you'll be able to burn those. And then for anything that's locked, because there is also a CUB kingdom that locks your tokens, for anything that's locked, we're going to go on kind of like a good faith agreement, because we'll obviously know your Hive username. Like you're going to have to give us your Hive username for all this to work. So we're going to kind of go on like a good faith agreement, and we will set aside the Leo designated for you on that lock. So like, for example, Salome shared a screenshot. He's got, what is that? $8.88 worth of XPolyCUB. Is that right? Let's just say $10 worth of XPolyCUB. So you would essentially, you would have to contact us and share your wallet address and share your Hive wallet address. And we're essentially just gonna have to make like a SQL entry of this. But you'll make a log of that, and you'll say, my intent is to burn this when it unlocks. And we will set aside the Leo for you. That is, so for your screenshot, it's $10 worth of Leo. So we'll set aside $10 worth of Leo in a separate account for you. And then as soon as it unlocks, we'll probably do this through like Discord support tickets or something to make it easy. As soon as it unlocks, you would then burn that PolyCUB, and then you'll send us the transaction proving that you burned it. And then we would unlock and send you the Leo that you were designated from the original airdrop. So if you are in a lock, you're going to have to wait for that unlock to be over to actually get the Leo. But it's not like you're getting missed, and the Leo will be priced at the current price, not the future price of Leo. So it locks you in for the airdrop, and then you would just kind of have to like work with us for it. I imagine that this is going to be less than like 50 people though. So that's why I'm not too concerned about it. I think it's just going to be a little bit of a manual headache. But there is no real good automated way to do all this. So going to be a manual thing, going to be some hard work for us, but I don't see it being like unsurmountable hurdle. And it is time to, this just goes to show it is time to kind of move on and get away from all the complexity. So this allows us to assimilate everything into Leo, focus on the Leo token, focus on Leo liquidity, and just really move forward in a positive direction for the Leo ecosystem.
Exactly. Sole focus, unified, all things
100%.
Leo.
100%.
I'm just trying to think of the technical word for that, and it's eluding me. Vertical
word.
integration. There we go.
There you go.
Vertical integration, all things Leo. Well, those are two big announcements. Obviously,
Yeah.
the Thorchain stuff's exciting because that's going to create the opportunity for liquidity. And on top of the liquidity, just the simple fact that the ability to exchange Leo tokens for like let's say Bitcoin, pretty freaking cool. Especially not having to go through the Hive swap dance. So pretty sweet.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a huge moment for Leo, a really huge moment. And that's why I'm really pushing for this CUB PolyCUB thing to happen before before the Maya integration happens.
What's the
or
I
during
forgot. What's the estimated timeline for the Meyer integration?
next Tuesday, it will all
Next
be
Tuesday.
live.
Cool.
Yeah. So a week from today, we will turn the AMA into a launch party.
Well, the
Obviously, subject to potential delays. I don't think it will get delayed because it's actually going live on Thursday, which is in 2 days. And we just added some extra cushioning for that. But obviously, anything can happen, and we're kind of reliant on their team to push the update. So, but most likely next Tuesday. I don't think it'll get pushed back.
well, again, given the you know vertical integration of all things Leo, it makes sense to make this transition because CUB and PolyCUB really aren't a focus. They're not going to be a focus. And for the most part, the whole DeFi experiment has come and passed. I mean, obviously, Uniswap, PancakeSwap, there's always going to be the main operators that keeps
Yeah.
that space going, the yield farming, so to speak. But
Yeah, and I mean, you look at PancakeSwap with, millions of users and billions of dollars, and they're also struggling. I think it's just a matter they've lasted longer because of their size and the first mover advantage. But that model is not working very well. So yeah, I think it's time to move forward. And I think we've picked a really interesting model with generating real revenue through affiliate swap fees, wrapping revenue, and then, pool swap fees. And then, rather than having three tokens, which is what we have now, Leo, CUB, PolyCUB, rather than having three tokens where we got to like split our focus and split the revenue, instead, we're just assimilating all into one token that earns all of the revenue, provides all the liquidity permanently from that revenue, earns more swap volume, and has that flywheel. I think right now, we're trying to have three flywheels, and what we're doing with this CUB PolyCUB proposal is just turning it into one big flywheel. All that revenue just focused in one place as opposed to being spread out all over the place, I think is a very important next step for us.
yep, I'm with it. Like I was saying earlier when we're getting ready to go live, you need to have more of a singular focus, just period. I mean, I experienced that all the time myself between all the different businesses and whatnot. And everyone I know that's crushing it, 90% of their focus is on one thing.
Right. Yeah, no,
Like
it's definitely important to be focused.
you can have other
And
side things, but
Yeah, you don't want to get too caught up in side quests, which I think we made the mistake of. I kind of steered the ship in that direction, thinking that it was, I think with the information at the time, obviously there was like a huge DeFi gold rush. It made a lot of sense. But ultimately, as things evolved, we realized it's you know, that wasn't the right move. It wasn't the right move to spread things out into multiple tokens, multiple blockchains. Um,
Shiny object
Time
syndrome.
travel. Yeah, exactly. Time travelers said, I wish we could buy Leo with fiat. I know that would be challenging with KYC. Yeah, so think of it this way though. I don't with DEXs, I don't see a way that you integrate like a fiat integration, but you can buy, USDC, USDT, or native Bitcoin or native Ethereum really easily with fiat. Like how easily can you buy, you could buy Bitcoin on Cash App. So for example, you could buy Bitcoin on Cash App and you could do a swap on Maya from native Bitcoin into Leo. So we're cutting down like 10 steps where you would like buy, USDT, send it to an exchange, convert it into Hive, send the Hive to the blockchain, um, and then use the Hive to buy Leo. We've cut down a lot of steps there. So directly for fiat, I don't think is coming just from a DEX perspective. But the fact that you can use L1 Bitcoin, L1 Ethereum, USDT, all that to buy Leo, I think is really incredible. And don't forget that. And I think this will be something that we have to really kind of promote to Hive. Like this is a whole new product too, if you think about it. For the whole like our target market being the entire Hive ecosystem of Hive holders, um, our new product is that they can now buy and sell Hive directly with any L1 token on Maya or Thorchain. And Leo is kind of like in the middle, kind of hidden in the background. But they can go to our UI, choose native Bitcoin, swap in, and native Hive, swap out, and do a few steps in like 5 minutes, convert Bitcoin into Hive. So it's pretty incredible. And you'll be able to, and I think the key is you'll be able to do it with incredible size. I mean, using a streaming swap, you could do it with $50,000 potentially. So it's pretty incredible. Yeah, it spreads far beyond Leo, Taskmaster said. This is huge. Yeah, it's far more than just Leo getting integrated on another, AMM. This is not like any other AMM. It's layer one cross-chain DEX with incredible features like streaming swaps, and using Leo as kind of the act. It's actually kind of, interesting. It's funny how, reality rhymes in many ways. Um, Maya is aiming to kind of be like an aggregator for Thorchain by using Maya as rails for smaller coins to then swap to like Rune and anything on Thorchain. Leo, this integration kind of makes Leo like the Maya of Hive in a way, because we are now allowing Hive swaps to be aggregated through Leo. Um, through this integration. So obviously doing this with Hive is a lot harder than doing it with Leo. So for us to do it with Leo, it is a lot easier to integrate. And Hive just gets that integration automatically because Leo and Hive have pool pairs directly on the blockchain. CPOL said, wow, 50,000 sounds great. How much do fees cost? So if you look at like a $50,000 streaming swap on Thorchain, the slippage can be, 0.5%. Like you actually set the slippage with a streaming swap. And the lower you set the slippage, the longer it takes to do the streaming swap. So it might take, 2 hours to do a $50,000 swap, depending on the pool size. And then the only fees you pay is one gas fee. So that's actually like the innovation here is that you only pay one gas fee and then you set the slippage. So if you set the slippage really low and then you set one gas fee, you pay one gas fee. I mean, you might pay less than, $100 for a $50,000 swap. Uh, just reading through your guys' questions.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments. This question's in between. Also, I mean, as far as the vote for the, you know, Cub, PolyCUB transition, we'll call it. I mean, I'd be very surprised if it didn't pass. I mean, at the end of the day, especially if the majority of the big holders are on board, that should be enough to push it forward.
Yeah, and ultimately it's the Leo ecosystem that needs to decide. Um, so how soon until we can realistically use this to swap Hive or Leo into Bitcoin or USDC? Taskmaster asked. Well, Leo, the day that Leo's on Maya, you'll be able to do it through Maya UIs. So you'll be able to but you'll have to wrap Leo into wrap Leo first, then swap using a Maya UI. So I think you're more asking how soon until we can do this on Inleo. And that is a little bit tougher of a question. We have to build an entire swap module, which I've already started working on, but we have to integrate an entire swap module into the Leo wallet. So I'm going to say in a optimistic world before the end of March, hopefully. You never know, especially when you're dealing with something like a swap module where there's money involved and um, you know, you don't want to have any critical bugs. So and we're also integrating multiple different blockchains. There's going to be a lot of testing behind this. I'm actually hoping that we can connect with a few, and we're kind of in talks with a few of them already. I'm hoping we can connect with a few of the Maya UI devs, the exchange UIs, and have them kind of actually help us build this because it would make it a lot faster. Um, so I'm working on that. I'm going to try to figure out how we could like sponsor one of their devs to help us. And essentially speed up the timeline. But being that there's a lot of this stuff, a lot of the things in the Thorchain and Maya ecosystems are open source. So for example, like Asgard X is a pretty big exchange UI for Thorchain and for Maya. Their entire code base is open source. So, we'll be able to pull a lot of information from their GitHub. So, I don't think it's obviously not impossible to do this. It is a very difficult task for us, especially because we are more of a social Web3 development team, not like a DeFi development team. But we do have experience, obviously, building DeFi apps. And then, if we can kind of bring in someone from the outside to help us, I think it would move things along pretty quickly. So hopefully by the end of the month, you'll be able to use our UI to click like 3 buttons and do that swap. But the day, like I said, the next Tuesday, the day we go live, you'll be able to swap wrapped Leo directly for any of these L1s. So, or vice versa, obviously. And then you'll just have the extra step of like, you've got to go to the Maya exchange UI, then you got to, buy wrapped Leo from that exchange UI. Then you got to go to WLEO.io and unwrap that wrapped Leo to Leo. So, and then if you did want Hive, you could actually do it manually. You could unwrap the wrap Leo into Leo and then swap the Leo into Hive. And now you've, for example, swapped native Bitcoin into Hive, but you did it all manually. So what we're trying to build is a UI that just does all of that for you. So from the user perspective, you don't even know that, all the different inner workings of what's going on. You just click 3 buttons and then it happens. So that is the ultimate goal.
The ultimate goal is to build the Inleo user base.
Yeah, the monthly active users have been growing. The new onboarding protocol, like I said, is live, and we are looking for a lot more, beta testers to help us kind of smooth it out. I have been hearing good feedback though that it is working smoothly for most people. But there's always gonna be bugs, and I want to make sure, and like I said, there's like 25 things that need to like line up for this Maya listing. And one of them is having a bulletproof onboarding protocol because I think there's going to be a lot of new users that get curious about what Leo and Inleo is. And I want to be ready for them. I don't want them to have a bad experience. I want them to come here, click sign up, and within 30 seconds have an account on Hive and be able to interact with us on threads and, you know, ask questions like, you know, let's say in like a really optimistic scenario, like my ideal scenario, we launch on Maya. You know, liquidity grows. My goal is like $250,000 in liquidity. And then simultaneous with that, a lot of people who use Maya and use Thorchain say, "Oh, what's this Leo token?" And then they, you know, learn that it's Inleo, and then they go to Inleo.io, and then they click sign up, and then they sign up with X, and then in 30 seconds they've got an account. And then suddenly we see all these new faces on threads, you know, asking, you know, what's this place all about? What can I talk about here? You know, can I talk about Thorchain? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just see a lot of new faces get active. That's like my ideal scenario. So you get the combination of, you know, economic, you know, kind of prosperity coming from this, but then also, you know, monthly active users increasing. And this takes me back to kind of like a bigger philosophy around Leo and the future of Leo, and, you know, assimilating CUB and PolyCUB into Leo. By doing all of this, by bringing it all into one UI and having products on the UI, so like premium is a product, and the swap module is a product, having that on the UI, all we have to do is grow our monthly active user base and have good products. That's all we have to do. So grow the monthly active users, and then that means that our potential user base of paid products increases, you know, premium and, you know, even only Leos, like Taskmaster's saying. You know, the kind of Substack feature that we're building. And then also so you got premium Substack like feature, and then the swap module. You know, when you go to swap crypto, we want you to use the Inleo wallet UI. And I think a lot of you will. Like, we're gonna build a beautiful UI so that even if you're not swapping Leo or Hive, you're gonna want to use the Inleo wallet to swap. So like, let's say you've got Bitcoin and you want to sell it into USDC. You've got native Bitcoin, you want USDC. My goal is like, you're an Inleo user, like you're a hardcore Inleo fan, you're familiar with the Inleo UI and how it looks and how it feels and how it works, and you trust the Inleo UI. And ultimately, instead of going to like AsgardX or ThorSwap, you go to your wallet page because you're already on Inleo. You connect your Bitcoin wallet, connect your Ethereum wallet, and you swap from Bitcoin to USDC. And we earn the affiliate fee when you swap. So it's like a very small percent fee that every interface charges. So instead of giving that fee to like ThorSwap, you give that fee to Leo, and that fee goes directly to buy Leo and put it as permanent liquidity in the pool. So you're benefiting Leo, and then you're also using a UI you're more familiar with that you're already on for other things like threading. And that is just another product in the lineup that generates revenue. So for the Leo token. So I think it's really cool that we're just assimilating everything into the Leo UI, and we align our goal with increase monthly active users, have really great products. And life becomes really simple from that point forward. Are the monthly active users increasing? Are our products good and getting better? So I'm really excited for that. As you've seen over the last couple months, that's really where the focus has shifted, is towards making the UI really amazing.
All about the user experience.
Definitely.
That's gonna be awesome when we can swap Leo back and forth into Bitcoin or USDC.
100%. Yeah, I think it's going to be a total game changer. Looking through questions. If you guys have any questions, feel free to
Yeah, like
ask
I
them. It's
said,
already
it's
top
more
of the hour.
comments than questions, which is cool. People are excited.
Yeah. No, I think in historical context, looking back on, you know, this next week and next month is going to be kind of one of those like historical moments uh for Leo as an ecosystem. You're going to look at it as a huge turning point, in my opinion. Brando asked, why has the APR dropped from 16 to 20 or drop? I mean, I think you mean from 22 to 16. We talked about that last week and at the beginning of this AMA, but the APR is now 16% for tier 3.
Boom.
Mr. Hive, one of the benefits of being on the AMA is you get the first information compared to others. Yeah, this is the part of the goal of the AMAs is that, you know, to reward you guys for being active members of the community, and you know, you're in the threadcast, you're in the AMA, you hear the alpha first. And then, like I said, the blog post announcing all of this stuff is going live right when we get off air. So everyone else will find out about it after you guys have already jumped off the AMA.
Exciting times, exciting times. Yeah, I don't see any.
Upvotes in the threadcast
No.
help. Yeah, they
Yeah.
definitely do, Taskmaster. Yeah, I try to upvote every comment in the threadcast. So,
When
and my
nuts,
upvotes are about 40 cents.
when not suitable for work tag on Leo, asking for Nifty. Fed task.
That is actually on the roadmap. Is to add an NSFW protocol where when you tag stuff, you'll be able to post obviously things that are NSFW, and then it will automatically hide them unless you check a certain setting that says you want to see that stuff.
Hilarious.
Which I think the day we launch that is going to be an interesting day. And coinciding with that is going to be better moderation techniques in general. We're going to add things like community notes, like what X has, where where you guys as a community will be able to essentially say that, like, if, for example, if you see someone post like a nude picture and they don't tag it NSFW, which means that it gets shown to everybody, the community members will be able to like flag it as NSFW, and then it'll auto add that tag if enough people flag it in a certain period of time. So kind of self moderation within the community around that. But that's definitely necessary. Obviously, as the platform grows, we don't want to see NSFW stuff if we don't want to see it. You know what I mean? If you don't have that box checked, you should never see NSFW stuff. So, Mr. Hive, talk more about the delegation process. I mean, it's pretty simple. You go to the dashboard. There's a button there under the delegate and earn section. There's a button on the right side that says delegate. You click that button, it pre-fills all the information, and then you just type the amount of Hive power that you want to delegate. And then you hit delegate, and then within like 30 minutes, it usually updates the dashboard UI. And the base APR is 13%. And then if you choose, there's a button at the bottom that says switch to staked. If you switch to staked, then you go from 13% to 15%. And if you are also premium, then you get 16%. So there's 3 tiers. Base tier is 13% APR. Tier 2 is 15% APR, which is if you're staked. And tier 3 is 16% APR if you are both staked and premium. And you can manage all of that from the dashboard. Al Kumar, we talked about that a few times during the AMA already.
Play it on a loop.
Taskmaster said, "What if you work in a nudist resort? Wouldn't nudity be safe for work then?" That's pretty funny. I went and bought more Leo. Is that insider trading? Is Ethereum a security? Someone called Gensler. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it'd be insider trading if it was privately talked about, but since anyone can join this AMA, anyone could buy. But people probably won't. We'll see. I think there is a need, and this is part of the CUB PolyCUB shift. there's a big need for a sentiment change in the Leo ecosystem. I think there's a lot of negativity, surrounding our ecosystem. And I think a lot of it has to do with CUB and PolyCUB, obviously. I think another thing that has to do with it is, UI bugs and overall instability with the UI. But the path that we've chosen is one of, a lot of experimentation, a lot of, doing it live. So we have not chosen the easy path. And I think the end result of that over time is a much more positive outcome than, choosing the easy path, not innovating. I'm definitely I err on the side of less caution and more innovation. And I don't think you can always have both. If you're cautious, I don't think you could be very innovative. And you look at, obviously, I'm, a big fan of like Elon Musk and SpaceX and Tesla and what's been done with those companies. And if you look at them, they were on the verge of completely exploding into bankruptcy multiple times, especially Tesla. There were multiple times where they were essentially going to go fully bankrupt. And now when you look at them, they're probably going to be the biggest car maker in the world in the next few years, and probably the biggest company in the world within the next 5 years. So, biggest company by market cap. So, choosing the hard path is very rewarding as long as you stick on that path and don't get knocked off of it. And I'm, talked about this many times, but my vision for Leo is like a 10, 20, 30-year vision. Like, Leo is like my life company. I want it to be forever. As an ecosystem, constantly evolving and pushing boundaries in many ways. I look at it as an ecosystem, not just a social. Like when people ask what Leo is, I don't call it a social media platform. I call it an ecosystem. There's many aspects to it. Introducing Leo Finance to Maya users would be a great thing indeed. Yeah, introducing Inleo to Maya users would be a great thing. Mr. Hive asks the average number of Hive power for delegation of the respective tiers. Yeah, if you delegate 100 or 1,000 Hive power, it's the same. It doesn't matter how much you delegate. You could delegate 1,000,000 Hive power and the reward would be the same. The tiers are based on, like I said, base tier is just if you delegate and you earn liquid Leo paid out every day. Tier 2 is if you switch to staked, you earn every day, you earn Leo every day, but it comes into your wallet as Leo power, and you earn 15% APR. And 3 is if you're tier 2, but then also premium, then you get 16%. Cool guy said, Inleo is the reason I'm still active on this blockchain. I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah, I think
Makes sense.
yeah, I mean, not everyone is a blogger. Not everyone is, going to comment on blogs, read blogs. I think when we switched to threads, we did something, really incredible that hadn't been done before in the blockchain world. And that is to, make short form content accessible and easy on a blockchain. And I don't think that existed before us. Nifty said offer discounts on swap fees for Leo stakers. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool things we could do. If you have Leo Power in your wallet and you use the swap UI, we may be able to do some cool stuff like that. Thor Swap actually has a really cool model. I actually own some Thor that I have staked into VThor. And if you have that Thor staked, then you get a discount. It's actually a really heavy discount on their affiliate fee. So yeah, I mean, I think we could use Leo Power and we could create swap tiers, and that could be another use case for holding Leo as Leo Power. So if you have 100,000 Leo Power, maybe your swap fee is cut by 75%, and you only pay 25% of the swap fee, as opposed to, let's say the swap fee is like 0.01%. You would pay one quarter of that instead of the full fee if you had 100,000 Leo Power. So yeah, a lot of really cool things that we can do. Nifty said the ability to use Maya Mask NFTs for PFP. I actually have no idea what that is, so you'll have to tell me more, Nifty. But yeah, I mean, with this integration, I want to do a lot of things collaboratively with Maya and Thorchain. So definitely open to stuff like that. Andresino said, really liked the new design of the sign-in page. Glad to hear it. Yeah, it's brand new. We just released it. The sign-up protocol is also rebuilt. So they both are a lot more modern designs. Mitch, you want to talk a little bit about the markets before and then jump off? What are you thinking?
Yeah, we can talk about that real quick and then wrap up. Yeah, it's
Um,
already 20 after 2. Days getting away
yeah,
from me. Um,
yep.
yeah, no, that's a good idea.
So
Obviously.
Bitcoin at 71K. We've kind of topped out at 72K. So a little bit of a small little pullback here. Runes obviously at 970, Ethereum at 4K. I was actually just looking at Ethereum that kind of topped out last bull market at 5K. So Ethereum's getting pretty close to its all-time highs as well. Hive at 45 cents. But we haven't heard from you in like 3 weeks. So tell the people, what are your thoughts on crypto? I think before you left, Bitcoin is probably like 50K.
Well, I was doing what I do. I go away and crypto rips. So you're welcome. Feel free to send me referrals, everyone.
Leave again so we
All
can
right.
have
Feel
100K.
free to send me gifts, folks. Feel free. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's surprised that we clocked a new all-time high. This is interesting. I feel like we're setting up for a sell the news event on the halving, just based on the price action. I mean, you look at the freaking chart and you zoom out and see like, the 2020, 2021 move, and then, the move in late 21, and, it looks very similar. So at some point, you have to have some kind of consolidation and or pullback. I don't know where that'll be. Could be 85, could be 100, could be 150, right? Um,
Yep.
Depending on things you look at. If you look at a long-term log chart, I think 150 is the top of like the range or whatever in terms of those bands. And then 125 is kind of like even reasonable. Certainly interesting, but right now what matters is that we stay above 69 and essentially confirm the new all-time high breakout. So looks like we're getting a little consolidation right now, which is fine because things were a little extended. But yeah, I don't know. On the weekly chart, the Bitcoin chart is bananas. Like it's a borderline moonshot from 40 to 71. I mean, it's practically a vertical line if you look at the weekly. There's
100%. Yeah.
there's 1 week of consolidation, like there was just a doji candle that went sideways. But outside of that, 5 of the last 6 weeks have just been complete moonshots. So, on the weekly chart, um, the technicals are showing that we're, in overbought territory. So how does that work off? Do we get a couple week pullback? Does it just consolidate? One never knows, but the reality is all the catalysts are bullish, the institutions are still stacking for the ETFs, the halving's coming up. So at this point, I'm hoping since we've already kind of ripped this much, I'm hoping we just rip into the halving. And then at that point, I'll probably position myself to at least like hedge somewhat any sell off. But I can tell you this, I'm probably like a buyer. Any big, because think about it, like in every bull market, right? We've seen 25, 30% drops, during the bull move. So, if I see Bitcoin drop 10, 15,000 points like quickly at any time, especially over the next month, like I'm gonna buy that. I'm gonna buy that dip. You know, and I'll do that only during bull market mode. And you know, leading up to the halving especially. But even, you know, if we get a post-halving dip, like I might look at that as a viable opportunity because we're quote unquote in a bull market, assuming that it's got legs and it's going to continue. You know, who knows? We could just run up to the halving and that could be the top. You never know, right? Anything can happen. But just trying to look at all the different scenarios. But yeah, obviously right now still leaning bullish and bullish into the halving because it just seems like there's all the reasons for everything to just keep pushing. Um, you know, Ethereum's been kicking ass. I think it's been, you know, it's kind of outpacing Bitcoin. A few weeks ago, I caught up with McSpreadsheet and Roland, and we were talking about, you know, what doubles first, Bitcoin or Ethereum. And honestly, the smart money is actually Ethereum. And so far it's leading that. When we did that, Bitcoin was at 50 and Ethereum was at like 27. So as of right now, Ethereum's winning that bet, and I think it will because you know Ethereum just over 5K seems like it's almost a foregone conclusion hitting 5K. Especially you know again with the catalyst that it'll probably be the next ETF, right? Which a lot of people think is going to happen this year. I don't think. I don't think we'll see another ETF until next year. I think Ethereum gets approval next year, but a bull market can change anything. So if we have a crazy raging bull market all year, you know, there's going to be enough cries for it that maybe it pushes the timeline. So
Yeah, I'm pretty bullish on the idea of an Ethereum ETF. But I'm with you that this close to a Bitcoin ETF, I don't know how close the Ethereum one will follow.
yeah, I don't think we see it
Was
this year.
Ethereum ever officially considered a commodity like how Bitcoin was? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
That would be a good question because I think that's a big hurdle if it wasn't. I think it was, but
Yeah, I don't remember. I think you're right. I think it was. I know it's funny. Someone actually mentioned because they were talking about like several a real estate buddy of mine that does a lot of crypto. He was talking about, you know, the coins he thinks will eventually have ETFs, right? So Ethereum, apparently he thinks Solana is going to have an ETF at some point. But then he brought up an interesting point about XRP and that he thinks that'll eventually get an ETF because of all the rulings that have happened and all that stuff. And I was like, you might be right. Um,
yeah.
but I'm still not
You
getting
know,
still not buying any.
yeah, well, something to get really excited about is that this Bitcoin ETF they're saying it's the most successful ETF launch in the last 20 years from a volume and inflow perspective in terms of AUM. And the more successful it is, the more likely it becomes that hundreds, maybe thousands of other derivatives, contracts, and ETFs are ultimately created. Something like a leveraged ETF still waiting to be created. There are the potential like fallout of all of this is pretty wild to imagine. Because the more, like I said, the more successful it is, the more likely you get all this new wave of traditional products integrating crypto and not just Bitcoin. I mean, obviously, I think Bitcoin is the front runner to a lot of this. But Ethereum ETF, like the more successful this Bitcoin ETF is for companies like BlackRock, the more likely it becomes that they say, hey, we just made billions of dollars launching this Bitcoin ETF. Time to launch an Ethereum ETF, and we can make billions of more dollars. And then they're like, well, hey, this Ethereum ETF went really well. Why don't we launch an XRP ETF and make billions of more dollars? So it's like the entire crypto world has just, I think that mass adoption thing that we were all waiting for, like the mass adoption moment, just happened in terms of TradFi capital. This ETF launch has been incredibly successful. And I think it's just going to lead to more and more products, derivatives, and ETFs that get launched down the line. And every new product that gets launched is potentially new capital flowing into our ecosystem in terms of, the crypto ecosystem. And then, obviously the Leo ecosystem benefiting from from increased awareness, attention, and usage of crypto and blockchain.
Facts. At the end of the day, right? Inflows. I mean, we can talk about all we want, but for a number to go up, basically money needs to come in. So more buyers than sellers. That is the fundamental base of it at the end of the day.
Exactly. More volume. More volume. Yeah, I mean, in the time Leo got listed on a major DEX was technically Uniswap if you look at like major DEX. And we went to $1. So seeing some people in the threadcast calling for $1. And that the last time we did it. So who knows? Who knows what happens here? I see a couple people already buying Leo though. So the price of Leo, going with my prophecy of saying that we would reach a 0.20 Leo Hive ratio in the near future. We just hit it today. Just right now.
Well, I guess I can
And I think we're gonna do 1-to-1.
I'm down. I'm with it. I got plenty of Leo and I also got plenty of B-Leo. So B-Leo will have to be my speculation coins.
Yeah, well, and then you can always move it over to Wrap Leo and then pool it with Cacao. So
That is.
plenty that you
Oh,
can
snap.
do.
I didn't think about that. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, new pool. New pool. And like I said, there's no rewards for that pool yet. The rewards are all based on swapping. So you'll earn, whatever the swapping revenue is. But with streaming swaps, I mean, if you look at some of these Thorchain pools, they're earning like 30% APR. So and that's all from swap fees. It's no like bullshit liquidity rewards. So depending on how well this pool does, we may end up changing some of the geyser rules and splitting the geyser between the Wrapped Leo Ethereum and Wrapped Leo Cacao pool. So depending on how all this goes, we'll see we'll obviously put that to a stakeholder vote as well. A poll vote later. Peniel is talking about listing on centralized exchanges. Honestly, I mean, I see there's some value in that, but I think the value of being on a centralized exchange has continually deteriorated. And I think it's only going to continue to deteriorate. I don't think the value of being on a centralized exchange is quite what it used to be. That being said, I mean, listing in more places is always great, but is it worth paying an exchange, $100,000 to list there? That is going away slowly, and a lot of exchanges have lowered their listing fees. So I think that's only going to continue to happen as you see things like Thorchain and Maya increase in terms of volume. The need to be on these exchanges will continue to decrease. And also, Thorchain and Maya are both working on order books. So, building UIs that are as good as centralized exchanges, but you connect your wallet and they're a decentralized exchange. We're quickly getting to that place. I just downloaded AsgardX the other day and started using it because I'm more of a ThorSwap user. But Maya, AsgardX has Maya integrated. So you can swap using AsgardX with Maya. And the UI is really good and really intuitive. It's like, kind of feels like a centralized exchange in certain ways already. So when order books get integrated, I think that's going to be even more of a, a hit to centralized exchanges. I think it's just going to eat their lunch. Can we wait a little longer before Leo takes off? Want to get more before Moon? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've kind of hoped the same thing. I've been buying Leo slowly for the past, several months, and it just keeps kind of slowly going up. My average buy is around like 5.5 cents, and now we're pushing 9 cents. So still buying, but now my average is constantly moving up. So I still think it's wild. I think it's wildly undervalued when you look at platforms, and obviously not financial advice, but you look at platforms that are, like I said, the market cap of Leo is like $1.5 million right now. and you can look for crypto platforms that are worth 1.5 to like $20 million. And I'd say the majority of those platforms have no working product, literally nothing behind them. I mean, they're just kind of vaporware in a lot of senses. And then you compare that to Inleo, which has an actual working product that generates actual revenue, that has an actual community and user base. So do with that information what you will, but I know what I'm doing with that information. But yeah, we're at 1:30, well, 1:30 Central Time, 2:30 Eastern. Mitch, any closing words before we leave it for the launch party next week?
Yeah, I don't even know. I'm just multitasking. All the things crypto and real estate at the same time. Not really, just hopefully we continue to moon and hopefully the alts keep going with it. Although, I mean, we do need some consolidation. So I'd prefer that to happen because when we get overextended, you know what happens. Um, yeah, launch party next week. Sweet. I will be around. But I have a hard stop at 1:45.
We're at 2 next week.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I assume we're aiming for noon. I'm guessing
Noon.
anyway.
Yeah, we'll do noon next week, and then we'll have like an hour and a half launch party.
Had I known there was a had I known there was a launch party, I might have scheduled differently. But I'm headed out of town Wednesday morning, so had to schedule up some things and
Yeah.
got to do old man things, physical therapy for my knee.
Oh, there you
So
go.
good
I'm in physical
times.
therapy for my back right now, so
Well, you're too young for
physical
all that.
therapy gang.
Well, enjoy it because I don't know that it gets better as you get older. You need to
It's
get
all
yourself
downhill.
some stem cells.
Oh yeah. I've got a buddy of mine is getting me some peptides, so we'll see how that
There you
goes.
go. Well, so allegedly, based on all this fasting research, after when you get past the 72-hour point of a fast is when allegedly, based on research, your body actually starts like producing or whatever it does, like, putting more stem cells in your bloodstream.
Yeah.
So maybe Cal needs to do a 7-day water fast.
I've actually been thinking about doing that. I saw Dana White's video about it a couple months ago, and
Yeah.
I saw that, and I was like, you know what? The longest fast I've ever done is maybe like 24 hours. So maybe I'll
There's
do like
different
a
benefits as
broth
time goes
fast.
on. Yeah. After like 24 hours, something happens. After 48 hours, X happens. And then you have to get
Yeah,
past 72 for like the stem cell stuff. I think you have to get
yeah.
past 48 where your body starts kind of like cleaning out the junk, so to speak. But yeah, no, Walter did a 7-day fast like a month ago. I don't
Shit.
know how he
Yeah,
did it.
I think what happens, I mean, like I do intermittent fasting, which is, I have like a
Okay.
6 hour eating window and I fast for 18. So, the longer it goes on, like right now I haven't eaten, it's, 1:30 local time. I haven't eaten since like, I don't know, 9 p.m. yesterday or something. And I'm not even slightly hungry. I mean, when I wake up, I'm like a little bit hungry, but then I have some coffee, go about my day. And the more that time goes on, the less I even feel like eating. I kind of like force myself to eat after 18 hours. I could easily keep going. So I think what happens is after like 2 or 3 days, you probably just don't even think about it.
Yeah, I think he told me day one was really, the toughest part. But then after that, you just kind of get used to it. And then it's just, water, some salt, and electrolytes. But you got to make sure you do because,
Yeah, you could definitely run into problems if you don't.
yeah. And I mean, you need essentially your body needs that salt to actually absorb the water.
Yep.
Um, so
You
yeah.
can actually die if you don't get enough salt.
And I don't know. I mean, this is all different. Like that's a clean water fast. Apparently, if you like do some research. Like you can drink straight black coffee, and apparently that doesn't break the
Uh-huh.
fast. But I'm like,
And then
eh.
broth. Yeah.
You can also do like, if you do like the like you mentioned peptides, like so people that do like IV therapy or whatever, where it's got like vitamins and shit. Like if you do that during the fast, it's technically apparently doesn't break your fast because all it is
Oh,
like,
that's interesting.
saline and vitamins being pumped into your body. But I'm just like, all right, I don't know. if I ever do it, I'm gonna try and, you know, keep it as clean as possible. But
Shit.
I actually have to be careful with that because of the liver disorder I have. I'm actually not supposed to fast.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So it's kind of annoying. It's like I'd like to try it. I'd like to do it, but I think I'm gonna do I'll probably just do like
Do
a
like 48 hours. See how it
exactly.
goes.
I'll probably
Yeah.
do a 48-hour fast at some point because you know, the benefits that you get just from that, like I was interested in. Um, I don't have any need to try and push past 72 to get like the quote unquote stem cell benefits.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, it's interesting how popular it's become, how much research has been done on it. And you know, at the end of the day, I guess we gotta keep healthy because there's no point in making all this crypto money if you can't enjoy it.
Yeah.
There you see, I
Yeah, you
pulled it back
definitely.
to crypto.
Right? Full circle. Full circle.
On that note, I'm actually gonna go get something to eat.
Yeah,
I
I'm probably
actually
gonna
gotta
go
get some
work out and
protein
then
and
eat.
yeah, no, I'm gonna get a little protein and hit the gym. I gotta get there before if I don't get there by 3, then it's just like there's no point of going because it's slammed.
Yeah. No, it's the same out here. Definitely.
No
Gets
doubt. All right,
packed.
cool. So yeah, next Tuesday, launch party. Obviously, you know, hoping for noon, but you know, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, hopefully we just we'll try to start on time since you got a hard stop. And then this week, tomorrow, look out for the poll. Get everybody you know to vote and be active. Watch for the announcements about the new listing. This is going to be, like I said, there's like 25 stars that are going to align this week. A lot that's going to happen in a very short period of time. So just I would say stay active on the platform and keep your eyes on the Discord announcement channel, threads, blog posts from Leo Finance, so that you don't miss anything that happens. So yeah, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks, Mitch, and see you guys next week.
We'll see you guys.